Back to work.
Well, gee, I feel a little guilty now.
Alright, I guess let's get this started, shall we? I believe I got everything running. I'll let this play on the beginning here, and I guess welcome everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed Retrothon so far. I want to say great run, Liz Star. I was watching part of it. It was absolutely fun to watch. Anyway, my name is Ecdysis, and I'm going to be running Clock Tower. I'm going to show you guys the general intro of this first, and then we should be pretty good right here. So if you're unaware, Clock Tower is one of the original horror games, and I want to go over a couple of things before we begin the run, because there is a lot of knowledge that does come into this. For one, we're going to have a couple of RNG seeds that I'm going to have to worry about. I'm just going to do this right now. Once we hit quick start, the run will start, but the category we're doing is all endings. So the whole goal here is we're going to get every single ending in the game. We only have to make it visible, and we're going to have some interesting routing that's going to make this happen. That being said, if you guys are ready to go, I'm ready to count it down. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Anyway, this is Clock Tower for the Super Famicom, Super Nintendo system. It was really only localized in Japan. And before I get into the whole history of this game, I have to mention a couple of things. One, this game is incredibly RNG dependent. The reason why is there's a lot of generations of mansion. I want to talk about a lot of the tech before I get into the whole story, just because there is a lot that comes up right in the beginning. We're going to need a certain item here. It's going to be a key. We have to see if we can get it. Hey, we got the key first try. This is actually very good. All endings in particular is extremely luck reliant, because since we're going for 9 endings, we have to deal with a lot of the game's random luck. And we are going to hit our first major skip of the game as well. It happens within the first 2 minutes, so I do want to make that noted really quick. And the things that gate us from playing most of these endings are going to be a key, a book, and a few other things, but the key is the only major one. Anyway, I'm going to be quiet for a second because I want to show you guys something pretty cool right here. Boom. There he is. The Scissor Man. The classic Scissor Man. Now, normally you have to run away from him, but I'm just going to run right through him because it's more fun. Sometimes he'll try to fight you. That's okay. You can just mash the button. Ideally, we want him to head towards us, and I'll definitely demonstrate it later. But the fact of the matter is, instead of having to run behind him, I can just run away from him like that, and Bobby, the Scissor Man, will just trip over. Now that I got the key, we can actually just escape to the West Wing. And there's a reason why I had to do this specific action and why we want to pass him. Normally, there's a lot of rooms you can explore, but we want to go hit certain rooms. I mentioned RNG plays a big factor in this game. We got the West Wing key, which is a 50-50 chance, and now we have a few other rooms. I'm going to sweep the bottom floor in order to find the proper rooms. There are about 5 random rooms that come up, and we need 2 of them. Preferably, we want the library immediately, but it's okay if we find the crow room, because we'll know where it is for later. There we go. First room, please be a library. For the love of God, please be a library. Wow, good luck. This will only happen during a marathon, right? Anyway, we're going to use this bookshelf to take down Bobby, and I hope you guys don't like Bobby too much, because he's not going to be too much of a part of this. And Timber, Bobby's down. Alright, one more thing. Let's see, did I get it? Alright, this has been incredible luck. This luck's actually ridiculous, and I get to show you guys one of my favorite strats in the game. So we're starting on A ending, actually, and the endings do all have different flags that are required to complete them. Since we were able to get the library almost immediately, we can do this very nicely. If we get ... in that room, we're in good shape. If we don't get ... it gets a bit rough. As you can see on that door, too, it wasn't really clickable. Like, usually, if you can enter a room, it'll give you the square. But one of the doors that we can potentially go through does not give that square. But yeah, this is amazing luck. Last time I did this during one of my practice runs, it took me like about 7 tries to get the Demon Idol. So we got Demon Idol first try within the first like 3 minutes. So this is actually nuts. And you guys are going to see a lot more of the skips almost immediately. Now, we're actually going to do something called the hole skip. So, I'm going to do a bit slow here. There's a hole in the ground. I'm going to talk to it, and then I'm going to run past it. Because I don't have time to get that wooden board. Jennifer is a 14-year-old girl. And if you're 14, you have the power of flight and magic for short periods of time. So, you can just run over holes in the ground and immediately go get whatever you want. Just like that. And the way that trick actually works, for anyone who may be wondering, especially since I don't imagine most of you are not, I guess, aficionados of clock tower speedrunning. Wait. Wrong room. My muscle memory is kind of throwing me off right now. But I could do the reverse. That's an upside. We're doing for A ending. There we go. And we're going to go right back after grabbing the demon idol. There we go. And we have a few things we have to do. We got the demon idol. We're going to need a key, and we're going to need a doll room. Oh yeah, it only happens when you're 14. In addition, now that we have an item, the game gets really interesting. And I want to bring this up. Clock Tower is very unique among the point-and-click horror games because we're going to have some actual major skips we can do. Most most point-and-click games don't allow you to skip things, but one of the major things about point-and-clicks is dialogue, and I'm going to do this, and it's going to allow me to skip all the dialogue by going back and forth with my items. And the reason why this works is going over an item brings up a text box, and it just overwrites the existing text box and allows me to go immediately with whatever action would be happening. And we're going to have a doll fight right now, and I'm going to quickly manipulate this to where I can just do this. Hopefully. Hey, first try. Sweet. Wait here. And that's actually perfect. The doll fight is manipulatable by doing that exact action of running slightly past her and then kind of just running back. I'm not sure why it works, but for some reason she gets angry enough to try to attack you. We got a bathroom, meaning I want to find the crow key a bit earlier, but it's not the end of the world because we can just go downstairs right now. There we go. And I get to start doing input buffering in hallways now, which makes the game slightly faster. Normally, especially for the Super Famicom system, it can only handle so much at a time, graphical limitations and all that. So by mashing the item, like the item menu, Jennifer will start running off the screen. And the important part about that is Jennifer running on the screen takes up what happens on the screen. Moving the mouse, moving the cursor, everything takes up just movement frames. So if more is moving, it'll last a bit longer. Therefore, if I'm mashing the item menu, I can just make Jennifer book it to the other side of any room. It's especially good in long hallways and is a minor optimization that you can kind of just do throughout the game. It only works if you have an item. A lot of the skips in this game are dependent on items, and I'll do another one right here at the text skip to where, watch, I'll demonstrate the text skip. So you'll see text come up. There it is, and we just immediately skip it and get a key. Normally, that's about like 10 seconds of dialogue, and I would much rather be able to skip that immediately. We can also do it over here as well. So I bet some of you are wondering right now, why am I doing all these random actions, the stereotypical point-and-click horror? Oh, you have to go get a key, you have to go talk to a crow, you have to go beat up a doll. So in order to get the A ending, which is the first ending we do, we normally do A first because it's one of the hardest ones to get consistently. The reason why we're doing this is we need certain flags in order to get it. We need to free a crow, we need to know the truth, and we need to know both ways of the truth. There's a way to stop the scissor man, and then there's the actual truth. I realize now I forgot to turn off my follower alerts. Hopefully that does not end up being too big of a deal, but we'll ultimately have to see. Anyway, I'm going to show you guys my favorite trick. It's kind of a 50-50 split if I get to show it during marathons, because the reason why the demon idol is so great, now we actually get to do this. So instead of having to wait, we can just immediately go into the end game. Now, normally the end game is locked by knowledge. If you get the staff, you actually have to wait for this vase and learn how to use it. For some reason, Jennifer has all the knowledge of a demon idol, but she has no idea how a staff works. But it allows us to go immediately to the end game. And normally for the end game, as all point and clicks work, you need certain puzzles from the early game in order to get you here. Normally, you would need perfume and a robe. As we'll see here, you'll see a woman walk by in a robe, and you need a few things in order not to alert my friend, the dog. The dog will become our friend very often, and I'm going to do something kind of funny here. Well, one, we're going to skip the dog barking, because that would take too long to listen to. And then I'm going to do something called the dog skip. So this dog exists here, and I'm going to do this instead. By pushing that twice, it skips the dog frame and allows me just to run all the way to the end. So here we go. And by going like this, we're going to talk to our friend here, our friend Lot. We're just going to quickly talk for a moment, run back. And lots dying on the ground, as you can see. She gave us the knowledge to beat up the Scissor Man, so we're going to use that for later. And I want to be a bit careful because I need to do this. So we're going to do something called the reverse dog skip right now. And this is one of the hardest tricks in the game. I really hope I can get it. It is a very tough trick. There we go. And here's how it's going to work. So normally you're blocked off from getting here, but by doing this... Ah, that was close. That was a close one. Okay. Let me see if I can get it one more time. Hopefully it doesn't get too wrecked. If not, I can always get another ending, but let's see. There we go. Oh, I messed it up! Oh, that's bad. Alright. The reverse dog skips are really hard. This is probably the hardest trick in the game by far. It's faster just to reset the game. Luckily, the game does go off continue, so it's not the end of the world. Let's make sure I can get reverse dog skip. It's a pretty fun trick to show off, and normally you're not supposed to go back to the dog. You can see what's been happening if I try going back with the dog, but this is pretty necessary. So let me make sure I can actually get this. If we can't get it on the second, if we can't get it after one more try, I'll change the routing a bit to just quickly get one of the harder endings out of the way. Mainly because I would rather get that over with now than later. The benefit of all endings is we can do a lot of route changes almost immediately. Here we go. So let's do dog skip again. Here we go. And 1, 2. The trick is frame perfect to where you have to hit both of the button presses because that dialog box comes up. You can't do it with an item, you have to do it with that dialog box. And we need to talk to a lot again. I talked a lot, perfect. And let's give this another shot. And remember, if I can't get reverse dog skip this time, we're actually in a perfect setting for my favorite skip in the game. So let's give this a shot here. And usually you just kind of have to mash the buttons, but sometimes it can be a bit finicky. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause, and we're just going to start mashing the button once we start running again. So here we go, and let's go. There we go, reverse dog skip right there. That's reverse dog skip. So normally, as you saw earlier, Jennifer just started, oh, I can't go back. There's a dog in the way. By doing that, we were able to reverse the dog. We were able to go past the dog and just ignore him entirely. So the dog's more of just, he's very basic. And that's my favorite, that's arguably one of the hardest tricks in the game. Like, that trick is double frame perfect and ridiculously hard. But the reason why this is good is this makes finding the truth about Bobby faster. Alright, so the next step is we actually just have to go... Well, actually, we keep doing this. Let's get more of that on. Some more input buffering, and I'm not going to input buffer too much here, because in rooms where you need to know where the door is, you'd much rather be able to go through the door. There we go. So now we have to go more on, I guess, a gathering quest, a gathering of items. We need insecticide, which is upstairs, and we're going to need to be able to get a certain door. And the door is locked in a meat locker, so we need to find that. But I'm going to do 2 endings in about 20 minutes, because I've done a lot of optimizations in this, and the use of continues are allowed in Clock Tower speedrunning. And it is very beneficial to get multiple endings in one go, as opposed to one ending each time. The continue function is normally used to be able to let you continue from places you actually ended up dying. So, for example, if as I died at the reverse dog skip the first time, it put me back in the beginning of that room. We're going to be able to use that a lot for a couple of endings coming up. It's going to be very useful. And I'm going to do more input buffering, because input buffering makes going through these hallways amazingly quick. It makes it very quick, and you can just immediately book it to the end as opposed to going all the way through. Walking through these hallways normally is much slower, and input buffering, even in the most minor areas, is much quicker. Even if you're not even going across the screen, if you're able to move the items back and forth, it's much quicker. So let's do this, and we got what we needed. We only needed to come to this room for pesticide. That's going to be going on the entire time. Let me see if I can find live split, or not live split, Streamlabs. Maybe turn that off for a bit. Okay, I keep telling you live split. Streamlabs. I'll have to remember, turn that one off, just for now. Because that is Clock Tower noise, so at least it's not totally in thematic. There we go, I can mute it. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure I can do that. And now we get to go over to my favorite part of the game, or one of my favorite parts. We're going to get some ham. We need some ham. If you ever watched the JonTron video on this, you know how important ham is to the run. Ham is extremely important, and we're going to do a few things right now. So I'm going to go more input buffering. Once we have items, it's just the best way to getting around. Everything works. The entire game is functional. The only thing, though, is it's much harder to click on these doors. Everything loads, it just you don't know where it is, so it does make it a bit harder to find. But yeah, so first things first, we're going to go get the ham from the fridge with another text skip. And watch, it immediately puts the item in my inventory. Normally, Jennifer has to comment on absolutely everything she does, because again, she's 14. So she's like, oh my god, that's a ham. Oh my god, these are bugs. She will absolutely always just be commenting on absolutely everything. If you open this without the pesticide, Jennifer will just kind of go, oh my god, I'm covered in bugs. Then you'll have to run away from the bugs. But we don't want to do that. Anyway, we hit our first kind of checkpoint. I'm going to use continue in a moment to get the first ending of the game, and this is going to be the H ending. Right now, we're working on two endings, H and A. H ending is the worst ending in the game, while A is actually one of the canon endings in the game. In total, there are 9 endings, S, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So let's do this right now. We're going to do one of these, and this is actually perfect. I missed the text skip here. That's not the end of the world. We need 3 things here. And fun fact, I know a lot of horror fans in general have always wondered, hey, there's a car here, you have the car key, there's a killer in the loose, you are able to escape the mansion. Why don't you do it? Now, if you use the car key in the car, Jennifer actually doesn't want to ditch her friends. We saw one friend die so far, and that's been unfortunate. So, more importantly, the game actually plays on that popular horror trope to where if we click on the car 3 times, Jennifer will actually just go, I'm leaving, I don't want to worry about my friends, we're done, we're getting out of here. And this is the first ending we're doing, which is H ending. And the reason why we're doing it so early is because we can fit it right into A ending. Luckily, we only have to get the flag for the ending. So far, only 1 friend has died. We don't count Lotte as a friend, she's not important. Well, at least in friend counts anyway. And then we can go on to this. But now we can hit continue. As I mentioned earlier, continuing is very important here. Because now we're back here and have all my items. And watch, we'll have the ham, we'll have everything once again. Ham and the key. So all of our status has just been carried over. The only difference is now we have the H ending, which is the first ending we needed. The only rule for all endings is you need to get all the flags for the endings, which is the car, and you just need to prove you got all the endings. So we already got one of them, that's H. We need 8 more now. I'm going to talk to this twice, and one of 2 things will happen. One, Jennifer will score some beers to party with her friends, or she'll find some medicine. We want to score some beers right now. So, Jennifer, you need to get knocked out and thrown into the shed. Oh, she found some medicine. That's unhealthy. Not the end of the world. It's just kind of minor time loss if we find medicine, but it's not the end of the world, especially if you can get a first floor door. As I mentioned again, there's a lot of room generations here, and I'll talk more about that as we go on, but right here, there is another room that will be 50-50. These rooms always alternate top and bottom. Of course, they got the worst luck. This room can either spawn here or at the top. Normally, we want the room we're going to spawn on the bottom because it's faster to go to. But it's not the end of the world. The main downside is, if you haven't noticed so far, for someone who's being chased around a mansion by a little boy with killer scissors, she walks upstairs very slowly. She walks like she's not even in danger. She just kind of at a brisk pace. A brisk walking pace because she doesn't want to totally run out of energy. Ironically enough, there is kind of a energy system in this game going on the basics, and there are a few modes. This will be a good time to talk about some of the modes, or at least this, the bar in the bottom left. So if you've noticed, there's a picture of Jennifer in the bottom left. She's in a blue portrait. And that portrait can change colors, and this is actually one of the first instances of a stamina system, or a sanity meter, realistically. Anyway, we need... Oh, is she in here? Wait a minute. Is she in here? Girl, I need you in here. You in here? Is she in here? There we go, okay. Sometimes it can be random if Mary shows up or not, so this is Miss Mary Barros. I haven't really given too much of a forethought on the actual game yet, but Miss Mary is our adoptive mother. Jennifer and her 3 friends are all orphans, and they were adopted from the orphanage by Miss Mary Barros. So this is our adopted mother, and she's gonna... I guess since we've been a good girl, she's going to give us some wine since we're old enough to party with the big girls, I suppose. See, she's got the bottle of wine, the wine glass. It's the only way to drink it. Drink wine out of a glass, you're classy. And that's what we want to do right now because we're 14 and we want to be classy like her. Ironically enough, even though Jennifer's 14, she can overpower almost everything in the game except a glass of alcohol. She's a real lightweight if you haven't been able to tell. Anyway, though, we did actually need to get thrown into the shed. As I mentioned, there is a few things we have to do to get the A ending, and one of them is find out the truth of Miss Mary. Because Miss Mary is not who you appear to be. Or who she appears to be, I suppose. I guess that would make sense since she just drugged a 14-year-old, but we'll find out more about that in a moment. By talking to this homeless man. This homeless man wants ham, and fun fact, just kind of watch the screen for a moment, because a familiar person is going to show back up. And this is why I love the reverse dog skip. We're kind of trapped in this cage until they show up anyway. So, here we go. Hey, it's Lot. Lot's back from the dead. At one moment she was dying on the ground, but now she's back here. Look, Lot's back alive, and she lets us out. Lot will always let you out of this cage no matter what happens. So if we see Lot die earlier after the dog, she actually just comes right back. Only to get shot by Miss Mary. There we go, and we're going to use the wood here to stop Mary. So, Lot came back from the dead to get shot by Mary. We're going to bash her in the back of the head, because that's the best way of dealing with a 40-year-old woman, and we're going to continue moving on to this. There we go. I'm going to do a very minor trick. I'm going to skip an entire box. Check this out, I'm going to use this key. I'm going to use this key right here, and we're going to skip this box. Ready? Boom. Ran right past it. Normally, you got to move the box, and now we can just do this. And yeah, see, if you're a 14-year-old girl, you have absolute power. You have absolute power. And one thing I forgot to mention is, whenever we speedrun this, we miss out on so many of the different rooms and interactions. On some of the endings, I'll actually show you guys, like, different interactions that could happen. Because, first off, we're going to see Anne die a lot. Now, the characters in this game are Lot, who is that girl who just died to Mary, and the woman who fell out of the ceiling, and then Laura, who we haven't met yet. And we'll meet Laura later. Anyway, though, you guys know it's about time to go do the dog skip again. Let's see. So far, we found out the truth. We talked a lot about the truth about Bobby, and we freed the crow. We have all the steps we need now. And now we can go on to the end game. The end game is usually... it's pretty straightforward. The major final trick is going to be the dog skip, and it really doesn't change that much. There you go. And there we go. We're going to double tap it. If you don't double tap it, you have to wait for the dialogue where Jennifer says, oh no, I can't go back. Anyway, before I kind of go into the whole lore master of this game, this is going to be the first major run all the way through. So I want to make sure I can leave this big part for you here. After a lot of input buffering, we'll be good. There we go. Almost there. There we go. I'll try to fix it right now. There we go. And let's go do this really quick because it's more or less an auto-scroller. I'll shrink the size a bit. Let's go do this. Too big. And this is the cradle under the stars. It's not on my end. It's on their end, apparently, so... this part is essentially mashing B. There they go. It's on the other side. This is the cradle under the stars, one of the big twists. This is Stan, and all you gotta do is mash the B button about 80 times. Realistically, if you die here, you just can't push a button at all. I'm not mashing it like crazy. I've met some people who mash buttons like crazy. I'm just pushing the button at a brisk pace. I'm pushing it at the rate that Jennifer walks upstairs. I'll talk more about that thing as we go up, but this is essentially the cradle under the stars for right now. We're gonna see this a lot, so... and this is a big boy. Keep in mind, Jennifer's about, like, what? About 5'4"? Jennifer's about 5'4", and this is about twice her size. This is about a 10-foot monster. I guess just food for thought. And now we're in the end game. We're entirely in the end game. We got 2 more things to do, and we're almost done with 2 endings. And we have 7 more after this. We completed H and A, and now we're almost done with the first 2 endings. And then we can go more on to what makes the other endings fun. The other endings we can do in really any order we want, so... let's have to make it in the elevator, and we'll be fine. There is one more major thing I gotta push. Normally, A ending runs, if you're doing single segment, will end right when you push the button. But all endings is a bit different, where you need to verify that you got each ending. So I hope you guys like watching the Clock Tower endings. They're really not that long, and they're pretty fun to watch, if I'm being honest. So we'll be able to see everything. Luckily, we go straight to the 3rd floor, so you just hold up and you mash the button. Back when I was starting to run this, I actually choked a few times, because I would just move wildly, and I accidentally pushed floor 2. There was one time really early on where I was competing for world record, and I just got absolutely bodied by myself. Anyway, though, we got a nice big chase sequence, and I actually don't have to move anything right now. I'm hands-free, but I'm going to show you guys the ending. I'm not going to talk right now for just a brief moment. I know I like talking, but I'm going to let you guys enjoy this really quick. Just to get a grasp of what we're doing here. And then I'll explain everything as we go. We pull the switches. Jennifer waits. And Bobby is going down. Woo! Bobby just falls off. He tries his best, but it wasn't very good. And if we got A ending, we're going to get a certain thing. Laura will come to us if we got A ending. So we got to make sure Laura shows up. We haven't met her yet, but she's going to be a woman in a blue dress. Here we go. There she is. There's Laura. And we're all good now. Laura's become a very good friend, if you guys haven't noticed, by the way. She's very important to this. But we have one more thing to do. There we go. Laura gets thrown off the clock tower. And Miss Mary is not done with us yet. As we know, Mary is not necessarily good, so she's trying to take us out with a knife. If we did everything right, we'll be absolutely fine. So let's keep going. There we go. There's actually no inputs here, so we don't have to worry too much about it. All we have to do is wait, and we're going to let Miss Mary either kill us or fall. We'll see which one happens first. And our friend, the crow, comes back up. Oh no, the crows, the crows. Really, I just like watching Mary die each time. So that's why I waited for that. In theory, I could have ended it a lot earlier, but I always wait till Mary dies just to make sure we got the A ending. I gotta make sure Jennifer doesn't die at that point. Anyway, on to the next run we go. Because once you get to that end game, you can only repeat the end game. So we're gonna just do another quick start. Right now we have H and A done. We're just gonna do a normal ending and see what we get. Let's see if we get another good key. If we don't get a good key, I can actually save a bit of time by going for a bad ending. But I'm gonna see if we can just get the key early on. Here we go. And this room will be a lot of issues. And I want to talk a quick moment about RNG, since it is a big factor in this game. Especially since a lot of speedrunners in general will always talk about RNG, which apparently I have the luck of the gods, because this has been 2 keys in a row. If you miss this key, it's about 40 seconds wait time, because you have to reset the console and begin another game. There's about 64 different generations at the generations of mansion at the least. So what we're going to do is we're going to go for... If we get a demon idol, we'll go for F ending. If we get a staff, we'll go for B ending. Because we're always going to get the library. But what's going to change is if we get the demon idol or the staff. And I hope you guys like watching Anne die, because it's time to watch it again. Poor Anne. This will happen a lot, by the way. If you ever watch Clock Tower speedrunning, this happens a lot. So getting used to Anne dying is very consistent. And this time, I got the trick perfectly, ideally. Yep, there we go. We run right past him, cancel our movement, and then we can just keep running. And the reason why that works, by the way, is since I'm able to select the stairs, the action of selecting something is going to take priority over anything else. So it's kind of weird in the fact that if you select the stairs, it wants you to go to the stairs instead of dying to Bobby. So you just run straight through them. But then you can just cancel your animations. You can just cancel your actions by pushing the X button, which does something like that stop that I did in the middle there. And it ends up just having a weird interaction where you just book it past Bobby, and you can immediately go to the second part of the game. Anyway, this room is the dummy room. We have 4 more rooms to check, and hopefully it's not a bad room. This will always be the ceremony room, and this one will hopefully be the library. Probably not, but it'll be nice to know. That's the crow room, which I don't need it, actually. We don't need the crow room right now. The crow room is only good for A and S endings, so there's no real point to having it just yet, especially since I like ending on S ending. Jennifer will randomly trip sometimes as well. It's a bit unfortunate, but the more you panic, the more the panic meter is, I guess, going down, the more she's likely to trip while running. Anyway, we gotta do a nice clean sweep of all the rooms, and I really hope that the library is not on the top floor, because that'd be a bit unfortunate if it is. Hey, library's right here. Perfect. And we do the same thing each time. The best part about the library is it gives us what we need for knowledge, and it allows us to get rid of Bobby very quick, because, as they say, knowledge is power, and power is knowledge. And also, you have to consider the following, that a 14-year-old girl is able to knock down a big briefcase. Okay, so now we're back on our usual luck. We got various technical books. Various technical books is what we don't want, and that's one of the bad RNG cycles we can get. And the reason why is we don't get the demon idol. If that's not a ... if that's just a straight sentence, we have to go for the staff, which the staff is terrible. But at least we found the room pretty quickly. So as you can see, we're going to get a staff out of this vase. If it's a demon idol game, if you check this area, Bobby will actually jump out as a jump scare. But since I already know it's not going to be a demon idol game, we get the staff. And it's quicker to do a staff game than resetting it so you get perfect RNG, so I'd much rather prefer that. There we go. And now we can just keep booking it. There we go. And now we're going to go for... I'm going to do B ending, just because B ending is a nice ending. And we actually don't have to worry too much. We can just go straight upstairs, and then we can go to Miss Mary. And the reason why we have to go to Miss Mary is it's faster by far, because we have to do that regardless. We don't have to go to this room at all, mainly because there's no point to it anymore. Going over here, we can find out the truth, but that's only faster if you have the demon idol. If you're not going for the demon idol, you have to go to Miss Mary's room anyway to get a key to find out how to use the staff. So it's just better to get the truth from the ham anyway, because it gets everything done in one area. This will always be the same, and we need to still come up here for the ceremony room key. Here we go. And this will always show up, and let's go get another good doll fight. As I mentioned, this could get a bit good or a bit bad. It's about a 30, you get up to about 30 seconds lost here if you have a bad manipulation. And it's not always going to be entirely manipulated. So you kind of have to just hope for the best. It's not an exact science either. I mainly just do it off feelings, so I usually kind of just, right when I pass her, run back, and then that will happen sometimes. It's not always. Sometimes she can decide to bop you, and when she does, you got to be careful. And this is an example of her just kind of taking forever. Oof. Ooh, this is a bad one. She's just pacing back and forth in the room trying to find us. There we go. And what we're going to do is walk over here. And since I talked to the door, Jennifer has a very thick skull, and the doll's going to ram into us, and we're just going to ignore that entirely. If we just let the doll ram into us normally, it would knock us down, and that takes way too much time. By talking to the door, it just allows us to tank the doll to the face and stand up. It's pretty good stuff. I'll do a small amount of input buffering, but not too much, and then we can go right here. Sweet. And we're going to go back to the A ending route where we got the pesticide, the insecticide. We're going to grab rope this time because we need a spare item for just the dog skip and general input buffering. And it doesn't hurt to grab it. If I could read Japanese, I'd be able to tell what this room was early, but I can't read Japanese, sadly. If I could, I think I had a lot of advantages in this game. But ultimately, considering Japanese is a much faster language than English, and this game really only had a legit Japanese version, this is the best version by far to play it on. Some people play it on the PC... Oh, come on. Some people try playing it on the English emulator, but it's much slower. It's not nearly as good. And any version in English is going to be an emulator. Whether it's an emulated version or a fan cartridge, Clock Tower for the SNES only came out in Japan. There was the First Sphere remake, which changed a lot of things. The problem is the First Sphere remake isn't a good speedrun. The main reason why is because I'm able to move the cursor, I'm pushing buttons to run, and I can use menuing with a button. It's not all based on one mouse. On the First Sphere remake, all the items are always before, and you have to click on them. But by being able to use all the menuing, this turned into a very interesting speed game. Just because traditionally point and clicks don't let you skip anything. I play a few other point and clicks. Actually, almost all horror point and clicks too. So I played Detention, Franbo. None of them let you skip anything in the game. Meanwhile, Clock Tower, what would normally be at least like a half-hour run, turns into world record for S ending is about 12 minutes. Luckily, though, we don't have to go to the car this time. You can just go straight to the... Here we go. Just go straight here, and let's see if we can go get the nice alcohol, the brewskis from the shelf. We always need the ham if we go this way. If you don't get the ham, you get a pretty sad death, I would say. There we go. And we're just gonna get the insecticide again because this is really all we do need. You can actually go to the shed without the ham, and just you don't want to go to the shed without the ham because it's not gonna turn out pretty for you. It's a bit unfortunate if I say so myself. There we go. And then we're gonna talk to this. And we're gonna do it twice. We either heal up or we get thrown in the shed. And this is faster because Mary takes forever to talk. You saw when I had to talk to Mary for the wine, and we can actually get around doing that if this works. But it only can happen if this works. If not, we have to wait forever to go to Mary, and then we have to go upstairs. Alright, we have to go upstairs. That's bad. Anyway, let's go take this ham to the shed, and then we're going to party. And see, I got a full health. Or full stamina, anyway. The panic meter, essentially, the real only downside to it is occasionally you have a higher chance of tripping, and if you get into a confrontation of Bobby or any enemies in the game gets a lot harder. So, for example, there are a few other encounters in this game. I could probably show off one or two if you guys have the time. I think we'll definitely have the time. This one's been going good so far. And we got Mary immediately. That's pretty nice. Mary actually has a random chance on if she'll spawn or not. As you noticed in the last one, I originally entered a dark room on the first try, and we're still at a point where we trust Mary. So we have to wait for this entire cutscene once again, but at least maybe Jennifer will be able to take more alcohol this time. Maybe. Pro tip, she won't. But this gives me waiting for all this gives me a good amount of time to actually talk about the story of this game. So as I mentioned, Miss Mary Barros works at the orphanage, and she adopted you and 3 other friends. So she adopted Jennifer, Lot, Laura, and Anne. But at the beginning of the game, Mary goes to look for Mr. Barros, and then some strange noises happen. Everyone looks around, and then they kind of just go on the whole, they find Bobby murdering teenagers. Bobby can actually murder multiple of them, but it depends on how you go about this. In theory, everybody in the game can die except Jennifer, but it all depends on how you end up doing it. So you got to be a bit careful when you actually decide to do it, and it does vary. It does vary. Oh, hey, I just noticed, so the FFZ emotes actually work. I actually have an undead emote. I have a clock tower emote if you guys want to check that out. I didn't know that. Sweet. But we got our old friend Lot back. She's going to let us out. Sadly, we don't get to see the double dog Lot because I got the staff, and we don't really care for it in this run. The only reason we do double dog in A is because A ending forces you to go into the shed. And going into the shed will take a while. It takes a long time to do the shed strategy. There you go. And talk to this. Funny enough, you have 3 options in here. If you actually just want to play this normally. If you hide in the box, Mary shoots the box. If you run out the door, Mary shoots you. That's awesome, though. I didn't realize my emotes were working here. I have Anne dead. Hell, next time Anne dies, feel free to spam Anne dead. It's pretty much going to happen every time you go into that foyer. There's one time where Anne doesn't die in that foyer. One time. And we'll actually do that ending right after this one. Anyway, now we can go back. Luckily, we got the good room, the good floor for this one, and it's not the end of the world. And the reason why, ultimately, you do end up just playing through staff games is they maybe add a total of 4 minutes onto it. But in the same 4 minutes, it would take you that amount of time to go get your luck back. So sure, I can do a whole nother run and try to get a Demon Idol, or I can just take a guaranteed 4-minute loss instead of risking potentially 8. Also, since this is B ending, I'll show you guys something funny right now. Or something fun. Because B ending doesn't require anyone to be alive. We're going to look at the Knight in Shining Armor. Just a little fun fact. We'll show you the Knight in Shining Armor here. Because there is a fun little Easter egg in this armor. Oh no. Oh no, what have I done? Oh no. That's Laura, guys. It's Laura. Oh no, it's Laura. What have we done? Laura's dead. We killed her. Laura will only ever die if she lands in there. There we go. Sweet. But anyway, we got the key we needed, and now we can go upstairs. I like showing that off because a lot of times people don't see Laura die a lot, and I think it's a bit fair to give a little bit of everything. Sadly, we ruined her knighthood, and then Laura fell over. Laura will never die unless you talk to that. It is the ending we're doing right now really doesn't matter if we kill Laura or not, because B ending needs both of the friends dead anyway. It's not going to make a difference on how we do it. You're going to need something very specific to do this. As I mentioned, each ending needs certain flags. A ending and S ending need Laura alive. B ending it doesn't really care if Laura's alive or dead. It only cares, did you free the crows for A ending. If you didn't free the crows, you don't get it. If you didn't save Laura, you don't get it. So you have to do everything for A. Because A is considered the best, I guess, canon ending. In theory. Although all the endings aren't amazing. So we're going to look at this. We have to actually investigate this or it's not going to work out. Boom. And this is why I don't like this room, by the way. Because we have to talk to, like, everything in this room plenty of times. And this is the whole reason why the staff game doesn't work. Because the only way to get into this room is to have Mary kill Lot. And by Mary killing Lot, we have to go to this room. So, it's a bit unfortunate. I guess, in theory, if you're able to get the key immediately, you can go for the normal staff route. But the problem is, most of the time, Mary's going to spawn in that room. Anyway, now that we've got everything, we can actually go downstairs. Which is going to be a lot nicer. As now we have everything we need for B ending, and we'll continue on with the game. And as I mentioned for more lore, Bobby essentially gets released into the mansion. And if you guys couldn't tell, Bobby has something to do with Mary. Obviously, they're friends to some extent. One might even say they're family. One might say that. I would say that. That's essentially how Jennifer rolls. Also, ironically enough, you'll see that Jennifer is a very strong 14-year-old girl. You noticed earlier I was able to shove down Bobby. I mean, sure, Bobby's only 8, but I feel like a boy who can carry around a giant... Can carry around a giant pair of scissors would have more upper body strength than a 14-year-old girl, but I am possibly mistaken. Also, while we're doing this, I do want to make a quick note on the time frame I decided on, because this does come up a lot. So, Clock Tower is a very odd game, as I mentioned, for the RNG, and that there's a reason why I selected 2 hours. If everything goes right, in theory, this ending could go, like, if it went perfectly, an hour 15. Like, if you did everything perfectly, it could be like an hour 15 easily. But, if everything goes bad, you can get up to 2 hours. So, I usually plan for the worst, and then if we might even have some spare time. So, I might be able to show just a glitch ending if possible, but we'll see if we can get to that. And we'll see if the Retrothon is cool with that. I want to bring it up early, though, because we are almost done with the B ending, and we're going to be at 1/3 done with the game. Or 1/3 done with the run, which isn't bad. Mainly because, actually a little bit more than 1/3, mainly because there's a massive skip that skips over half the endings in the game that will come up. And also there's a reason why I grabbed the rope, and it's primarily for input buffering. Funny enough though, Jennifer has no remorse. She kind of just takes down everybody. She takes down Bobby, she takes down Mary, and she even takes down Dan. The only person she doesn't take down, luckily, is the dog. Back when I started this speedrun, I would actually die on the dog every other time. This is the big closer for me. This is the thing that would absolutely body my runs. However, I can't remember the last time I died to a normal dog skip. And then this will be right here. In fact, I got the double. Sweet. And double is much faster just because you can keep running. And time for more input buffering. Graphical glitches can happen every now and again because, you know, it's an old game. It's not perfect. That's an example of one of them. And there's another one that does happen where Jennifer's face in the bottom left just turns like bright orange. It's kind of weird. It's slightly strange. Anyway, though, we're going to get another look at Dan, also known as the Cradle Under the Stars. Now, I'll throw another fun Dan fact, since every time I come up to Dan, I like giving Dan facts. So first off, the dude's a giant baby. However, he's the exact same age as Bobby, and he's a twin. Him and Bobby are twins. Mary is the mother, so I want to bring that up right now. But this giant monstrosity is twins with Bobby, the Scissor Man. Angus Young, Bobby, the Scissor Man. Jay Leno, Angus Young, Bobby, the Scissor Man. We're going to go back to tapping, but yeah, I guess just try to think for a moment how this massive baby is able to be twins with a minor, like, Bobby is like half the size of Jennifer, while this is twice the size of Jennifer. I mean, I guess you can argue that Bobby gave his additional height to Dan to, I guess, make him towering, but that's not quite the case. This game has a bit of an interesting story, and I guess while we're waiting on this as well, I could talk a bit about the history of Clock Tower. So Clock Tower originally came out in 1995, and this is regarded as actually the original survival horror. I know Resident Evil always give themselves that title, but if this game wasn't localized entirely in Japan, everyone would know Clock Tower was the original survival horror. It invented pretty much the entire idea of you being chased around by someone, not being able to defend yourself. There's a few other games that did similar things, but Clock Tower is really the first one to do the whole idea of a cat and mouse game. You can argue there's some other ones as well, but this also takes place in the whole mansion archetype and just gives you the general idea of what survival horror would eventually come to be. Also, with a bunch of different games being inspired to it by, like, Remothered, Haunting Ground. Hell, you can even argue that Alien Isolation was partly inspired by this. But it does vary. And I do want to note as well, Bobby and Dan are identical twins. They're entirely identical. There we go. Did everything perfectly, and now I can go up. But yes. For Resident Evil, though, I do want to talk more about that as well, because I do a lot of horror games, and for Resident Evil, Sweet Home actually was the inspiration for that. But most people consider that more of just a horror RPG. Not necessarily survival horror, although survival horror gets a bit weird when you think about it, because, you know, survival horror, you just survive and it's horror, that's really about it. But for the whole, the concept today of what it came to be about, Clock Tower is one of the first major ones to do it. There we go. Anyway, we got our nice buddy Bobby back, and Bobby's gonna get taken down by the switches again. So I bet you're wondering last time, why do these switches do something to Bobby? This is because what we learned from the books and from Lot last time is the idea that time will cause adherence. So by turning on the clock tower, we're able to stop Bobby, and this is ultimately what ends up stopping Bobby. And he's able to get taken down like that. I'm not sure why he walks off the cliff. I'm pretty sure just because the amount of pain he must be going through. Bobby is born with a crazy amount of tumors. A ridiculous amount of tumors. Like, the man is made of tumors. I'm pretty sure he's more tumor than man. Although we do have one more action on this ending before we end it. Here's B ending, and this happens right here. There we go. There's B ending right there. We got right, and Mary's going to be electrocuted. But I want to make sure she fully fries. She might still be able to get off this. Alright, she's dead. And then Jennifer just walks away. She just walks away. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is, if we get the key immediately, we'll go for either C or F. If we get no key, we're going to go for G, because we have a lot of options on how we can go on the path. And there's a few things that can also identify it early, but it's usually you just have to go for it. But yeah, Jennifer's the type of girl who just kind of walks away from that. And I want to talk a bit about Jennifer as well, since we have a lot of time throughout waiting. I mean, I can keep repeating, oh my god, this key has a 50-50 chance to open. But there's only so much that could come from that. And we got the key again, so we can actually go straight to F or C. And we're going to watch Anne die once again. And we're going to do the Anne skip yet again. But Jennifer's actually modeled, and Clock Tower in general is modeled after a movie. It takes a lot of inspiration from a couple horror classics. These are Suspiria and Phenomena. And both are amazing Italian horror films. One of them in particular actually has the character design for Jennifer Simpson in Clock Tower, which is Jennifer Connelly. I'm a big Jennifer Connelly fan, obviously. But it's just, if you look at a picture of Jennifer Connelly, she's going to look crazy like Jennifer Simpson. I really wish I had this key luck any other time I play the game, but I guess it's good that it's happening during Marathon. There we go. Quick Bobby skip again, and now we can go for a better ending. Pretty much the way we're deciding F or C as well is we are going to go, if we get the Demon Idol, we're going for F. If we get the Staff, we're going for C. And that's how we're deciding it. Because the only problem with F ending is it's entirely dependent on if we can get the Demon Idol. Now, I know you guys must be thinking, by the way, can Anne actually live for once? There's one ending where Anne's not going to die from that death. She's not going to die immediately. There's one ending where Anne gets to be happy. Alright, this is a blank again. Let's see if we can get the library, hopefully, on this one. Because regardless, we don't need the crow key. All we need is the Demon Idol, and we can use one more item. Crow? Alright, this isn't bad to have. There's certainly worse rooms we can know about. Here we go. And if you're also wondering why we like going after Anne Fat more, Anne dying immediately allows us to go to the West Wing, while Laura dying takes a long time. Laura's dying is very, very long. Funny enough, Laura dying is actually the one most people end up seeing when they play this game first casually, because it's an easier path to get to. While Anne you wouldn't expect outright. Okay, I know the piano room is, I know the crow room is. I don't need the crow room, but I know where it is. Here we go. Library is going to be either back here or it's going to be all the way at the top. I hope to God it's back here. If it's all the way at the top, this could have been a perfect S ending, and that would have been annoying. Alright, thank God. I don't like getting perfect S endings because it makes me feel bad. As I mentioned as well, I take different routing for all endings because it's faster to search and scan all of the rooms. And when you search and scan all the rooms, you can find the library much quicker, and you can know where all the rooms are. Alright, we can go for F ending. This is perfect. We're going for F. This is actually perfect. I'm so happy we got this. This is so much faster now. And we can go for the crow room, and we'll get the key, and that's all we need. So F ending is one of my favorite endings in the game. F is a blast. F is so great for speedrunning. There we go. And we get to watch that hole skip again on the ground after we get the demon idol. In addition, we're also going to need the crow key, which is we're going to head back down. And whenever we get the demon idol, the game gets so much faster. So this is actually amazing. This has been really good, by the way. Like, this has been a great run. World record for this, I want to say, is like 131. So we might even be able to compete with that. Since I got world record, I've actually modified this game a bit and included a few new strats. For clock tower speedrunning, I'm mostly the person who does a lot of the work on it. There used to be a lot more runners in the past, but I built this game up a lot, especially all endings. So right now, world record for all endings is about a 131, and we could potentially beat it right now. I'm not going to lie. This is actually great pace if I can book it through. Sweet. There we go. More input buffering. For those of you who have not seen input buffering yet, I will go over it again. Input buffering is a trick that allows us to go faster by buffering the item menu. So it's called input buffering, or item buffering. Just because it puts Jennifer off the screen like so. And she disappears. We don't want to do it too much, though, because in rooms you need to be precise. You got to make sure you find everything. Luckily, though, we got the demon idol, so we can just immediately go up here. We don't have to do anything else. We can just immediately go up here. Text skipping is an absolute must if you want to run a clock tower. It's arguably one of the most important tricks of the game, and I would argue it's my major contribution to this game. When I came into this game, it had a lot of the tricks already done. In fact, it had a modified version of text skipping, but I guess nobody thought to put the item menus with the action button at the same time. Hey, good manipulation. Sweet. If you guys are wondering why I do that small pause beforehand as well, the doll will never die fast enough to let you just walk into the door. The doll is always going to take its time, so if you go to the door immediately, you're going to have that thing I did earlier to where Jennifer talks to the door and goes, oh no, the door is locked. Whatever will I do? So that's why I always kind of buffer just my stop right there. And stopping in strategic places is very good because it prevents Jennifer from turning around and just doing general Jennifer movements. Jennifer movements are a tad unfortunate, but they do happen. Like walking up and down these stairs. That's like me walking up and down stairs, really. I could relate to this. Realistically, she is 14, and then, I mean, if you ever watched a 14-year-old walking up and down stairs, if you ever been 14 and walked up and down stairs, you know what it's like. Luckily, though, we now get to do F ending, which is one of my favorites by far. Come on. There we go. And F ending is probably the most important ending for all endings. If any ending is the most important, it's going to be this one, because this is where all of our major time save will come from. Actually, why did I do that? Let's get the crow key. We only need the crow key. There we go. And now I can get more into this. And we're going to see Dan again. We're going to do all this again, and it'll be pretty good. But we need the crow key because we need at least one item for what we want to do. If we don't have an item, it's not going to work out well. And I know what you're thinking, hey, why don't you use the demon idol? Because the demon idol goes away in this next room, and there's no other item we can get outside of the crow key. There is the rope or some other items, but you have to predict to get this early on. And predicting it's not going to always be feasible. If I could predict clock tower and manipulate it, I would be playing this game a lot more. When you get to really competitive world recording and the shorter categories, it just hits a point where you are constantly rolling the dice. Realistically, Clock Tower has some pretty crazy RNG in it that doesn't really, I guess, get noticed because there's so many resets that come from a Clock Tower run. But in theory, I mean, from a casual standpoint, it's a very good design. I mean, they want you to have a different experience every time you play it, meaning you have to go for different things, you got to go for different rooms, you're not always going to be able to just do the game the same every time, which is ultimately a great way of establishing replay value. Which was arguably better than a lot of the token munchers, especially of the time. So let's go do the dog skip again. There we go. I gotta make sure I talk to the door this time. We don't care about Lot right now, but Lot will come into play later. So let's just go talk to Dan, because Dan is the man, and we want to see what he's up to. And I'm going to start telling you guys a little bit about the story here. So as I mentioned earlier, Mary is the mother of Dan and Bobby. Dan and Bobby are identical twins. I want to make that very clear. They're identical twins. They're canonically identical twins. They're not fraternal. They're identical. Well, I don't usually read the comments too much, but Jennifer Connelly is exactly Jennifer Simpson. Like, this is the exact inspiration of that. But yes, Big Dan is going to make another appearance. But I will tell you this, they are identical twins, but Dan has a lot of something on him, and his arms are massive. Dan is truly an interesting man. But I will say this as we wait, because we have a couple more endings. In total, we have about, well, right now we have 3 endings, and we'll get some done very quick, and we'll be able to go on a few more in a bit. But there's something up about the mansion that doesn't make sense. Why would Mary lure orphans into the mansion in order to... what's the word? In order to murder... Yeah, why would Mary lure... like, bring orphans in the mansion just to have them killed by an 8-year-old boy with scissors? And also, Dan is extremely flammable, so I guess put some thought into that. I'll let you guys think about that for a bit. I like kind of feeding the story as we go, because ultimately we're seeing the, like, 9 different parts of the story. So I'm going to feed it to you guys as we go, and I think we got this now. We got F ending, we should have it. If we do F ending right, we'll end up with a ending right at the elevator. So let's go here. Sweet. There we go. And yeah, my favorite part of this, by the way, is just how Jennifer looks exactly like Jennifer Connelly. And I hope Jennifer Connelly is fully aware of this. Anyway, if we got the ending right, we're going to die right here in the elevator. So let's make sure we got it right. And 3, 2, 1. There it is. There's the blood underneath the elevator. And we got F ending. I don't need to watch any more of that. That's F ending guaranteed. Okay. Now, guys, how did you let me die? How did you guys let me die? I wasn't supposed to die there. I got F ending, but you know what? You know what? I'm going to continue the game. I think we have another chance on this. We have another chance. I'm going to continue the game. What did I forget to do? There's something I forgot to do. What did I forget to do here? What did I forget to do? There's something major. What was it? Is there a certain friend that can help us out to get into the elevator to maybe let us know what Bobby's about? Is there a certain friend that has the information on how to beat Bobby? Yes, there is. There's a lot. So F ending requires you to not have any knowledge. And since you don't have any knowledge, we just talked a lot to get that knowledge. And now, if I did everything right, we'll be allowed in the elevator this time. Guys, I forgot to talk to Anne. I'm sorry. I forgot to talk to Anne. That's truly my fault right there. I mean, I definitely didn't intend that or anything. There we go. And now we'll make it into the elevator. If I did everything right, we'll make it into the elevator. We talked a lot, and Lot knows how to beat up an 8-year-old boy, so we can totally do this. She gave Jennifer the secrets, and now we're going to use those secrets to make it into the elevator. There we go. And we're going to go up to the 3rd floor, because the 3rd floor has been treating us well all night. I don't see any reason not to go up to the 3rd floor. It must work. Guaranteed to work. We'll watch Bobby fall off the Clock Tower Mansion. We'll push Mary down the stairs, because, you know, she's 40. Oh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, no. Uh-oh. There's Bobby. And we died once again, huh? That's a bit strange. How could we die twice here? Oh, wait a minute. I remember now. Okay, let's try continue again. Let's try it one more time, guys. Let's try this one more time. One more time. Let's try the 2nd floor this time. I mean, we haven't tried the 2nd floor once today. The 3rd floor killed us. The 1st floor is broken. We're on the bottom floor. Let's try the 2nd floor. I think it'll work. I think it'll work. See, we're already out. We're already out, guys. There we go. Let's do some input buffering. And let's just run here. Hey, guys, look, it's Mary. See, we made it, and we're all safe. Mary's going to give us a nice glass of wine, and we're going to give her a big hug. Let's go give Mary that hug now, shall we? Here we go. Let's go give her that hug. There we go. Oh, no. We've been stabbed by Mary. There we go. Okay. So what I just did there is called the FED skip. The FED skip is very important to all endings because it allows us to do F, E, and D all in a row. Each of those endings is about 10 minutes alone. D ending actually got shortened to 2, but I did all 3 endings in about 12 minutes. So that's perfect. Now we went from 3 endings done, now we have 6 endings done. There are 3 endings left in the game, and one of them is very quick. If we get a key, we're doing C. If we don't get a key, we're doing G. This has been very well so far. That was actually perfect. Let's go. Let's show me a key. Show me a key. Alright, we got the key. Alright, let's go to let's go to C ending now. I can't believe it. What is this key luck, dude? This is not, like, Marathons is supposed to be the opposite of lucky. I'm supposed to, you know, just kind of go, oh, sorry, guys, that never happened before. I'm sorry I didn't get the key. But we got the key 3, like, every time I've needed this key, we got the key every time. Like, my god. Also, I apologize to any Anne enthusiast who may be in chat. I am pretty sorry. But Anne's gonna die once again. It happens every time, and it's honestly a blast every time to watch it. Thud. And let's go do the trick again. Boom. Sweet. Easy trick, and hopefully we get a demon idol. If we get a demon idol, we're going to be in great shape. If we get the staff, this is still going to be fine. And my favorite part, though, is just... Anne will get 1 chance in the sun. I'll say that right now. Anne will have 1 chance in the sun, and we'll find that for her. Also, if anyone has been wondering as well, yes, this is a forced trip, and it'll happen every time. It's scripted in. Funny enough, there's a glitch you can do that allows you to remove the trip, but there's no point of doing it because it will waste time, and it's pretty difficult to do. There's one example I can actually show potentially later, considering we're going to definitely end with a very good time. No door here. As I mentioned, there's 5 random rooms in the West Wing. And we got another random trip. We have 4 more. We're going to find the library again as soon as possible. Oh, wow, Bobby, you're not supposed to... there's the moment. There's the moment there. Okay. Push down Bobby because he's a nerd, and let's just walk in here. That was... Bobby actually shocked me. He's never actually done that. Wait, hold up. Also, I just noticed my time is saying 0022. There we go. That might need to be reformatted. There we go. And we'll have to wait on the other side. That might be... there we go. Thank you. We got that room. We know where the crow room is, but we don't need the crow room because we're doing C ending now. But that can happen every now and again. Bobby is very interesting in how he tracks you. Because we don't get to actually watch a lot of Bobby's interactions because we just immediately get rid of him. There's a few interesting things that can happen with Bobby. He can randomly disappear sometimes, but I also forgot to mention one more mode because we really haven't gone into it much yet. But right now I'm in something called chase mode. And chase mode is when Bobby is chasing you. It's very indicative of that. And you can only do certain actions. You won't be able to search things. You have to get rid of Bobby. So there's exploration mode and there's search mode. Right now, there's exploration mode and there's chase mode. Anyway, let's hope we get the demon idol, and this will be great. There's Bobby. We take him down. And we got various technical books. That's about par for the course. So that's not too bad. And I already know where the piano room is, so I'm actually kind of not too bummed out about this. And luckily, we haven't had to really reset it too much. Resets only really happen during all endings if we get the no key. And I'm going to go for the... well, actually... in theory, it'd be faster to go for the key next time just to make sure it's not there. But I'm going to go for just G ending for the next one. We're going C right now. We'll go G afterward, and we're ending on S. I always end on S because it is by far the fastest way of getting done with this. Also, I might be able to save a quick trip by not getting thrown in the shed. And I haven't really shown the other side yet. Would it be faster? Let's see. Either way, I have to go upstairs. I can think about while I'm going upstairs. The one part I love about Clock Tower All Endings, personally, about running it and watching, I guess, just other people run it. Not a lot of people run it. It's mostly just me. But what I love about this category is it forces Clock Tower runners to think on their feet. You don't get to go, okay, what should I do? Do I go this way or this way? You have to go, okay, I have a staff. I have a demon idol. What can I do? So we're going to take the usual route since this is C ending, and we can do more input buffering. And it's just so helpful. I'm not sure why items ended up breaking it. I'm pretty sure it's just mainly because they use the text box to have the same thing as the item menu. So having text here ended up just breaking the game, which I can enjoy it. I can definitely enjoy it. But I guarantee we'll see the other route at least once. We haven't even seen the other route once yet because we haven't had to need it yet. The one time we did need to see it, we didn't have to see it because we got the A ending. And then the other time we got it, we didn't need to see it. So let's go get some good doll manipulation here. Every ending that requires you to go to the ceremony room will require you to fight the doll. This is one of the mandatory things to do in this game. F ending is the most bare bones ending you can get because it requires you just to get to the end of the game. That's all it requires you to do. You don't need anything else in F ending. All you need is to get to the elevator. And most of the runs end in the elevator anyway. It's arguably the most important area in the game because so much is decided in that one room. Right after Dan, everything gets decided. Or right during Dan, really. Alright, come on. And there we go. So I'm gonna, I guess, bring it up a bit because we are gonna, I guess, see a bit of a hint while we're moving in here. We're gonna see a bit of a hint to what Mary and all the Bobby and Dan might be doing with the orphans. Because keep in mind, they're adopting a bunch of orphans. This isn't the first time they did this, by the way. This situation becomes known as the Clock Tower murders. So this happens plenty of times. It only doesn't happen to Jennifer and her friends. It's been happening for a while to a variety of different people. So let's make sure we can get the oh no, I messed the text skip. That's fine. It's really not that bad that we don't get it. It's just minor optimizations that help. And it's especially good on longer parts. Another weird part about Jennifer that I can actually relate to right now, since we have to do the staff, certain things in the game Jennifer doesn't know how to use natively. Why she's able to use a demon idol, I don't know. But for the staff, Jennifer has to learn how to do it. For like doing a pull-up or for going up over that bar in there, Jennifer has to learn how to do it. For putting down a plank over a hole, Jennifer has to learn, oh my god, that's a hole there, I can't pass it. Jennifer needs to learn a lot of things before actually doing them, which is kind of odd, actually. I guess it makes sense, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of these things would be straightforward. But that's just the magic of Jennifer. Canonically, since we're doing all the endings, there are some canon endings, and I do say endings. There's one requirement, or there's one series of requirements for a canon ending. Everyone in the mansion dies, and Jennifer is the only survivor. That is the all endings. There we go. So we're going to get the ham again, and hopefully we get thrown in the shed immediately. Because we do need the truth, and we can get this. There we go. Funny enough, as well, I guess kind of going into more, movie trivia along with Clock Tower, since this does get a lot of inspiration from Phenomena, directly. The ceiling death, that comes from Phenomena. Almost everything, Jennifer's model, comes from Jennifer Connelly. The whole story where you have a hidden monster comes from Phenomena. This game is pretty much Phenomena in game form, but with crows instead of bugs to help Jennifer out at the end. But since this does come from Phenomena, another thing that ends... Oh, I talked to it. I missed the text skip, but that's not the end of the world. Another thing that comes from it is the fact that Jennifer Connelly, when she was in Phenomena, was 15, so I guess the age range is also pretty close. Come on. As you notice, there's a lot of meat in that locker. Oh my god, we got it, sweet. Are we getting thrown in the shed immediately? This is the other way around. So by talking into that, we get the brewskis, and we immediately get thrown into the shed. Because Jennifer was found drunk in the kitchen, and Mary just put her in the shed for, stealing her liquor. So just don't steal your, foster mom's liquor, and you will probably be fine. Most likely. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And now we can make it through. Back in the shed, and our old friend Lot will come back. As I mentioned, Lot's really only good for giving us knowledge or letting us out of a cage. The game actually doesn't counter for friend deaths because they don't really care about her, funny enough. I'm not sure why they don't. She's a pretty fun character and pretty important, but in every single ending, Lot is considered dead. She will never make it. In terms of more Clock Tower story, I suppose, Clock Tower takes place in the UK, around, just general England. It's the Barrow's mansion, so I guess it makes sense. The second game actually takes place in Norway, funny enough. There we go. And go here. Oh, that was close. That was actually pretty close. I almost ran out of the room, and that would have killed me. Running out of the room immediately kills me. But we want to bash her in the back of the head once again, and we're out of here. I'm going to do some input buffering to make for a bit of a fancier trick. There we go. And I'm going to do this with input buffering, and then invisibly go through the other side. I almost did it. I love being able to skip that box, because it's so minor. You're just skipping literally a box. There we go. Although we don't know which room has Mary in it now, so I'm hoping it's the bottom one. I always hope it's the bottom one because I'd rather go upstairs than downstairs. I'd rather be downstairs than go upstairs. Just because the way Jennifer walks upstairs. Oh, always, man. At least it's not a bad path on the way down because I have to go back down here anyway. But let's go watch Jennifer go upstairs once again. Truly the most entertaining part, if you ask me. Just Jennifer booking it up the stairs. Also, I wonder where Anne's body went. It really makes you think, where could Anne's body could have gone? What would Bobby, Dan, and Mary want to do with Anne's body? What would a family of monsters want to do with an orphan body? Really makes you think. We will find out more about that as we get to Dan, though, but I think some of you may have a general opinion of what happened. But I'll give the big reveal of what happened once we get to Dan. Just because I guess it goes in line with the story, and it's always pretty fun. Also, if you're wondering who that homeless dude is, that's actually Mr. Barros. Once Mr. Barros, I guess... Oh, come on. That's a bit unlucky. Mary's here. But Mary's a bit of an odd person. So Mary doesn't really want to leave this room. Or I don't even know what her entire motivation here is. One, she's going to try stabbing us because we know the truth now. She got back in here. You think that she had the shotgun, she would keep the shotgun. But no, she just whips out her knife, and we go immediately back in, and Mary's gone. I'm not sure what provokes her to just wait in this room. When we bash her in the back of the head, you think she'd faint in the shed, but she just kind of waits in that room with her knife instead. She had a shotgun. You think she would want to use a shotgun instead of the knife. And also, I always find it kind of funny that you just re-enter the room and then she disappears. I got you now, Jennifer. You exit the room and you immediately re-enter. She just vanishes. I guess you could argue there's a bunch of hidden compartments in this game, but they want you to be able to just juke everything. They don't want you to be able to predict where Bobby will be. They want you to have to hide from him. Bobby's actually pretty cunning casually, because a lot of times you're not going to know where he's going to be. The one time Bobby actually picked me off that can happen. That does happen if you're unlucky. To where Bobby can cut you off in unlucky locations. That's actually the first time I saw it happen during a run, so I guess marathon luck right there. But it's quite interesting to see, to be honest. Anyway, we are almost done with C ending, and C ending is my favorite canon ending. It's a blast to watch, and it's probably just the most canon ending in the game. If you're wondering which key is canon, since we do have two different keys we use, the staff and the demon idol, like everyone else who's ever played Clock Tower, the demon idol is way better because the demon idol is also canon. Honestly, the demon idol's canon is way better. I always talk to these things twice just to make sure. I'd rather talk to them twice than not talk to them at all. There we go. And then talk to this, talk to the books, and then we can get out. I gotta make sure I talk to everything, or else I've done it before to where this room's just kind of bad. This room, if you don't talk to everything here, you have a long walk back. So messing up in that room, I'd rather talk to everything several times than talk to everything once. I've had it happen before where I entered that room, I did the talking, and then the staff wasn't working. So I had to go back to the room, and it's just a tad bit unfortunate. So the C ending, if you haven't been able to tell, we've gone to the third floor every time. There is a good ending that ends on the second floor, and that's what we're going to do right now. In the second floor, we're going to, I guess, see what happens there. Right now, we know the truth about Mary. We know how to defeat Bobby. And now we can just get to the end of the game. Funny enough, we never even see the robe or the perfume in any runs because they take way too long to get to and are way too out of the way. But if you guys are wondering on their locations, the robe is in the room we found the insecticide. You actually find it way in the back, but you have to solve a quick puzzle that allows you to jump over like a wall. And then the perfume is underneath... it's one of the very first rooms most people find. It's actually not hard to find. Most people find it almost immediately, and they find something else in that room too. And I'll show a few things off if I have the time. I'll have to check with Retrothon afterward, because I love this game. It's an amazing game, and honestly, I do believe it would have done way better if it was not localized entirely in Japan. But I guess it's just kind of the nature of games as well. And I actually really didn't think it would do well outside Japan. I remember Clock Tower 1 did pretty well. There's a reason why they released a decent amount of the series. Ghost Head was absolutely awful. And realistically, for Clock Tower sequels, the only major Clock Tower series is Clock Tower 1 and 2, also known as Clock Tower SNES and Clock Tower PS1. Because for some reason, they made the name very weird when they brought it to North America. They named it Clock Tower for the original, and then they named the PS1 version Clock Tower. So it was always kind of weird to me. There you go. Keep going. And we're getting back to Dan. And I feel like some of you may have already kind of predicted what's happening. Let's go. Boom. And we're going to find Dan right now. I remember when I first played this game absolutely got me. Like, this game has a great atmosphere. Just going through it slowly is nice. But one of the fun parts is you just kind of ignore everything in any horror speedrun. And back to Dan. So, as I mentioned earlier, Dan is twice the size of Bobby. Twice the size of Bobby right here. Now, why is Dan so big, although they're identical twins? So, Dan the man here is... here's the big reveal. Dan is covered in orphan meat. Dan is absolutely covered in orphan meat. And before today, I actually didn't understand how a man can get covered in orphan meat. But I did a 5K earlier today, I got covered in mud, and I finally understand how Dan is covered in orphan meat. The man has just eaten so much orphan meat in his life, along with the weight gain and just being covered in it and it caking around his skin. Dan became this 10-foot monstrosity of orphan meat. And apparently orphan meat is the most flammable meat in the world because it allows this to happen. Don't get me wrong, I understand that there's the candle down here and the gasoline, but orphan meat shouldn't be this flammable. I don't think human meat in general is this flammable, but I have no knowledge of that. Either way, though, they are a group of cannibals, and for some reason, Dan has the absolute, I guess, big end of the stick, while Bobby has the very short end of the stick, because he has to do all the hunting, while Dan's the favorite, obviously, because he gets the massive cradle under the stars, and he gets the, you know, suit made out of orphan meat. Going more into the Clock Tower sequels, the Clock Tower games got kind of weird. So, Clock Tower 1 and Clock Tower 2, also known as just Clock Tower PS1, are really the only games within the Jennifer Chronicles. Clock Tower Ghost Head, or also known as Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within, is just a spin-off. Clock Tower 3 is a spin-off with a very minor reference to Clock Tower 1. Haunting Ground is another spin-off. And we're on the second floor, and here's the ending right now. And then Remothered is a reimagining that originally started as a Clock Tower game, but it became a just total reimagining with subtle nods. And we're back to Mary, but this time we know what we're going to do, so we can potentially take her out pretty quickly. Here we go. And looking at it, I'm not sure if we'll be able to get... Let's try this out, maybe. No, there's no way I'll be able to... Yeah, I won't be able to go... Oh, wait, I need to push the buttons. Let's get ready for this. We know what Mary's up to this time. We're not going to give her a hug. We're just going to push her down, because Mary's somehow easier to take down than Bobby. Like, Jennifer just shoves her down almost immediately. There we go. Rule of Rose is entirely a different game. There we go. But it has the same general idea. And this is my favorite ending, by the way, of all the canon endings, just because Mary is chasing you, you gotta escape her, and there's just so much going on. Luckily, this ending is almost done, and we could potentially have something here. We might be able to get it. Maybe. It's going to be very close, but we can at least get close to a world record time. Come on. Mary's going to grab her foot, and we are going to just kick her down. Alright, we got it. That C ending, 2 more endings. We got G and S, and we're almost done with the run. There are 2 more endings of this, and we're making great time. Although, I do not believe we'll be able to get world record off this. Mainly because S ending in its absolute fastest is 12 minutes, and then G ending in its absolute fastest is 3 minutes. So it's physically impossible for me to get world record, but I'll definitely try my best. There we go. But G ending is actually a bit different. G ending is very different. And we're going to do this. Oh, I missed it. That's fine. The ending is C ending. We just kick Mary down, and then it's the usual Bobby thing. So, a lot of you who've played Clock Tower casually, you might recognize this as one of the first areas you go to, because this is where Laura dies. We finally get to watch Laura die. If you guys are tired of Anne dying, you are a part of the Anne fan club, you have respect for Anne, this is your one chance to watch Laura die, so I hope you enjoy it. It's also the most, like, iconic part of Clock Tower, because so many people recognize this part. The scissors coming out, the eye, everything about that part is amazing. Let's just hope my luck is amazing, because this section is actually dictated by luck. So I can almost die immediately if Bobby wants to be a rude dude. Bobby, do not be a rude dude. Keep wanting. Run, Jennifer, run, run, run! Alright, she made it. Okay, guys, I'm going to do the master strategy against Bobby here. The master strategy. Check this out. I'm going to juke him by going back into the same exact room. Bobby will never expect it. Bobby's not a cunning man, but we're very cunning. Okay, now, everybody pray with me in chat. Bobby, go away. Bobby, shoo. Bobby, leave. Bobby, get out of here. Bobby, leave. Bobby, what you're doing is wrong! Oh, God, he did it. Okay, so Bobby was going to kill me there, so let's go see if we can get the luck. Every time we reset the game actually resets its luck, so let's go back to continue. Alright, come on. Alright, Bobby, round 2. You need to leave quickly. Once Bobby leaves, we can get G ending. Bobby, you need to leave. Be a good boy. Bobby, you're not being a good boy, man. You're being the opposite of a good boy. Bobby, you need to leave. Like, that's all I need from you. I just need you to leave the area. I need you to flee the area. There we go. If it happens 5 times, I'll just redo the ending and take the safer route. Because we have a lot of time, by the way. Like, realistically, at most, this takes about 10 minutes, and the other one takes about 20. At most. Alright, we got it. Bobby's leaving. The way I can tell is if Bobby keeps walking, he'll break down the door. If Bobby does a slight pause, he won't break down the door and he's immediately gone. Bobby just immediately gives up the hunt. My favorite part is that's entirely possible, and that's the world record strat to where you just re-enter the room, and then hope to God Bobby leaves. Now, guys, we actually get to talk to Anne for a bit. We'll see Anne. Like, I watch, Anne's not falling out of glass this time. See, we're in a world right now where Anne is not falling out of glass ceilings. She's not getting, like... She's not dying from glassy deaths. Anne finally has a chance to live, guys. I'm so happy. Anne, for once in her life, is alive. Oh. Oh. Wait a minute. Oh, no. There's Anne again. Sorry, Anne. So, all I did say is Anne's not going to die from the ceiling death. Anne dies in every single ending, because we need her to die. G ending, you have to kill Laura, and you have to kill Anne. The reason why I did it in this order where Laura's first and Anne is second, because Anne dies right in this hallway, and you don't need anything else. Laura dies right in that room. If you do it the other way around, you have to unlock both of these doors. You have to get to the room with Mary, and you could potentially get thrown in the shed. And we would rather not get thrown in the shed. Anyway, now that all of our friends are dead, we can leave. Anne got thrown out a window, Laura got stabbed in a bathtub, and Lot doesn't matter. So now we have permission to leave. There we go. That's actually really nice. Hey, and I got the perfect... You know, if I got the actual good Bobby movement, this could have been a world record G ending. Not bad at all. Yeah, this could have been a perfect G ending. I'm kind of sad. G ending is only slightly better than H, but it's pretty bad. There we go. And then we can just use the key again. And then once we exit, we'll have G. I always wait to just make sure she exits. For all I know, Bobby might be in the back of the car. That was H ending. H ending doesn't play long enough, and neither will... Like, G takes way too long. We know we got both of them. So H ending, Bobby's in the back of the car, and he just kills us. It's actually my follower notification, funny enough, because I love that scene so much. And time for the final ending, by the way. We have one more ending now, and this is S ending. Hopefully we get the Demon Idol. Regardless, if we get a key, we're locked into whatever we do. In total, we had about 8 endings so far, and we got 1 more. We're on ending number 9 right now, and we're almost done with the game. There we go. The problem with taking the very, like, I guess the trope-defining ending where you go through the car, both of the car endings are considered bad. The first one is, if you go to H, where you just leave when one front is there, you die in the back of the car. Alright, first time that's happened all day. Wow, alright, that's unfortunate. So I gotta reset the game. And this is why we don't like getting that. There we go. And the main reason is just because you have to reset until you get this key. The reason being, it's about 40 seconds on reset for this to check this out. Sometimes less if you get anything happening with this window. Meanwhile, if you go to the other way for this key, it's about 5 minutes. And you can just ruin absolutely everything by going for that. It's way longer, like... If this takes 8 attempts, then we're losing time. But even then, if we get the key once, we have at most like 15 minutes after... 15 to 20 minutes afterward. And we got it right there. But yes, G ending is considered bad for good reason. G, you end up escaping the mansion, but you die 3 days later. It's arguably one of the saddest endings because it's so uneventful. At least the other ending you tried, but G ending, you left all your friends to die, and then you just kind of make do with it. There's actually a minor skip we can do here, but it's not worth doing because it takes a lot of time. The ... animation here, you can actually skip it if you walk past it. But it's a pretty difficult trick to do that's usually not worth it outside of H ending. But even with H ending, we don't do the normal H ending in this category, so there's no real point. Hey, look, it's Anne again, and this is the final Anne death, by the way. We're on the final ending, and this is S ending. In G ending, you end up dying from Miss Mary. Miss Mary ends up coming to your house and killing you. It doesn't actually tell you, it just says you died 3 days in your sleep. But this has been confirmed by the devs of Clock Tower. There we go. And as I mentioned, we are ending it on S ending because I believe in a happy ending. I like the idea of a happy ending. We watched it all the way through anyway, so it's a happier ending. And the canon endings in this game are A, B, and C. It doesn't matter how you take out Mary. The only matter is that Mary dies and everybody else dies. There we go. And now we need to find the library once again. As remember, knowledge is indeed power. And I hope we get the Demon Idol, because we're going to have to go that path anyway for this ending. S ending is, wow, that's actually really lucky. First try. That's kind of amazing. I wasn't expecting that. Sweet. And give me the Demon Idol, please, please, Demon Idol. If I get a Demon Idol, I'm going to go out tomorrow and buy a lottery ticket, because apparently I'm very lucky. If I could walk anyway, my body has been dying today. Various technical books. Alright, so we have an extra 4 minutes tacked on. At most, I'm predicting this will end in about a 1:37, if I had to guess. If I had to guess, this will end in a 1:37. Anyway, we gotta check out more rooms. That's the blank room. I gotta find the crow room now. And luckily, this is actually a bit shorter than the other way around, because we're not going to the shed this time. The difference between A ending and S ending is the way you find out the truth. So, as I mentioned, there's a couple ways of finding out the truth. We actually have not done the other one once yet because we had no reason to go there. Every other time we got the staff game, it was better to go to the other way. Since, actually, we got the staff right here. That's kind of perfect. So, that being said, we're finally going to go learn the truth in the other way, because in order to get S ending, you assumed you did everything perfectly. You have all the best of your friends. You have... like, you were the best you can be. You saved the crows, you saved your friends, and we talked to somebody special. So we're going to find that person really quick, and I think it should be fun. Also, if you play this piano, you actually summon Bobby. The record player just plays creepy music. Because there's a lot of interactions in this game. Since this is a speedrun, you kind of get a miss. And one of the big thrills of horror games in general is being able to explore, being able to take your time. Horror games and speedruns is kind of a weird situation because... one of the things about horror is things are constantly lurking and waiting. You don't know what's coming around the corner in horror. Meanwhile, in a speedrun, you know exactly what's happening, you know what to predict, and you know where you're going to go. So, the whole idea of horror games is if you're afraid of horror, horror speedruns are definitely for you. There's no reason not to like it, because let's say you like the horror aesthetic, but you don't like the feel of the Jack-in-the-Box scaring you. You can just go, okay, I know exactly what's going to happen, but I love the style of this game. I love the mansion, but I don't have to worry about Bobby jumping out to scare me, because I know Bobby's not going to show up in a speedrun. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, there we go. Run over the hole again, because we do need to talk to our special friend. And this will be a good route back as well. I've only gone in this room once. We haven't done much here yet, so this will be nice. And this is one of the longest rooms in the game, and one of the most dangerous rooms in the game. This room is deceptively dangerous, and the reason why is because of this box. If I take too long in this room, something will pop out of this box, so I don't want to take a lot of time here. It's a 50-50 split on what can happen. Either one, I get a Bobby chase, or two, there is I guess a little surprise in there. But there's 2 boxes in the game, so they essentially swap positions. One of the boxes has Bobby, the other has the special surprise. I'm going to talk to this pipe to do a text skip, and it saves about 4 seconds by doing this. Also, I do want to mention as well, there is... oh, what's the word? There's a major optimization that this is probably my major, I guess, improvement to this game, is skipping this section right here. I pioneered mainly S ending because I thought it was the best category. It's the best ending in the game, and it was the most competitive major category. Obviously, shorter endings are more competitive, but in the old days, you had to talk to this dude in the corner. It's about a 1:30 long cutscene. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to talk to this bag, do a text skip, and just run out. So that dude in the corner is our dad. And this dude in the corner is our dad. Normally, you have to caress your dad, get the dying note. It's like, oh my god, Jennifer, they're killing me. Jennifer, Jennifer. Now, we just take our dad's wallet. You want to see what's in the box? Maybe later. So we just steal our dad's wallet and immediately book it out. If we want, we could watch the cutscene later on. We have a lot of, like, I don't know if having extra time is going to be good or bad, but we are going to have a lot of it. At worst, this finishes at a 140. At the absolute worst, this has been a very good run. Last time I did this, I got a 152, and this is the practice run for me. And now I'm getting, at worst, a 140. I kind of wish I got the Demon Idol here, but I ended up getting the Staff, but it's not the end of the world. There we go. Oof. The Staff usually adds about 4 minutes to the total. And also, as you know, we're not going to get thrown in the shed this time. And you know the truth, it's impossible to get thrown in the shed. And I actually glossed over it a bit, in fact. While I'm fighting the doll and doing the manipulation, talking to the dad in the corner, there's actually a reason why I only talk to the bag. So, as I mentioned, this game works on flags. So if you do certain actions, the game is going to assume you did the entire thing. One of the actions is talking to that bag. So by talking to that bag, you entirely get the truth filled out. You don't have to do anything else, you just have to talk to the bag, and then you have the truth. So, since we got the truth immediately, there's... oh, I missed the text skip, but we can just watch the crow. And if you guys want, I can go back and open the box. It's actually along the way I need it. You know what? For you guys, I'll go back and open the box, and we'll see what it is. We'll see with the big surprise in the box. I'll run back to it because it's going to be pretty quick. I know because the way we're going is also going to lead me to the next spot as well. That's going to lead me to a hiding spot, so there's no major deal there. So I don't mind showing off the box. And we have plenty of time. This won't world record. World record is in about 1 minute, and it's impossible for me to get a 1 minute to the ending right now. So for you guys, I'll show you what's inside the box. Because now we've done everything we needed except knowing the truth about our... except being able to get to the end of the game, pretty much. There we go. So I'll show you what's inside the box right now. And we'll run right back there. There we go. Let's run back. Back to the box. Just because, I mean, we have a lot of time. Like, I predicted 2 hours. It's going to be like 1:45 with these... oh, come on. There we go. And the one time I can get it. That trick in particular is kind of odd because it's... you know, I could have done the either item skip. Why did I do that one? Alright, what's in the box, guys? What's in the box? Let's go see what's in the box. Okay, box. Time to do your stuff. Hey, that's lucky. Okay, we got a cat. It's a cat. It's kitty cat. And then he just chills. So that's what's in the box. It's just a kitty cat. The other box, there's 2 boxes that actually... you want to go to the other box and summon Bobby? I mean, I'd rather... there's no point in summoning Bobby. Oh, here we go. There we go. So let's go to the end of the game now. I showed you guys one of the boxes. It's my treat to you. And also, answering some quick questions as well. 1, Jennifer has the endurance of a 14-year-old girl, so she takes all of her breaks on the stairs. 2, Jennifer... wait, what was I saying again? Jennifer needs to learn how to do things. 3, the phone in the foyer never works. What happens if you talk to the phone in the foyer, it just says the line's dead. That's all it does. Also, I can't show the Laura death again because I need Laura to be alive for the S ending. It's one of the more important endings, and now I can just book it to the end. Also, I want to bring up Jennifer in the bottom left right now. That's how I feel all the time. That's my face almost always in life. Like, that's like me 24/7. If you're wondering how I look right now, I know I sound like I probably, have a dude's face, but I look exactly like that in the bottom left. That's my exact face right now. Dead on accurate. Could not be more accurate. I'm practically Jennifer Connelly right now. There we go. And I need insecticide. And that's all we need, actually. Perfect. 10 out of 10. And now we can go get the... All we need is the key, really. So we don't need to worry about the ham. We're not going to get thrown in the shed. And we will be absolutely fine. There we go. And we can make it down. Boop. Funny enough, Clock Tower actually has a weird message. The game actually promotes, I guess, not eating meat. Due to the events of the Clock Tower murders, the Clock Tower mansion, Jennifer became a vegetarian. I guess it's because, all the orphan meat everywhere and then seeing dead crows kind of psyched her out. I like to believe it's just the, Dan being covered in orphan meat. But we will ultimately have to see. And let's go to the end of this. Let's go to the end of this. We're almost done. And this is why the staff game is ultimately the worst part of it. Realistically, most of the time provided is assuming that you don't get the staff. If you get the staff, it just wastes more and more time. So it's much better not to get the staff if you can avoid it. But it's not always avoidable, sadly. Oddly enough, the world record I got in this game was during another marathon. It's usually pretty cool if I can get it during marathons. This category, I love it a lot more in marathons. I want to talk a bit about Clock Tower speedrunning in general, since I talked a bit about it earlier, but now it's more of a general why do I like all endings for marathons. It shows a lot more adaptiveness and gives you the whole depth and, I guess, breadth of Clock Tower. There's a lot that does go on in this game that you might miss if you go for one ending. For example, if you only get H, you run straight to the car. There are certain skips that are exclusive to certain endings, and all endings in particular just has amazing routing. And it also forces runners to think on their feet entirely, as opposed to just going, okay, I'm going this way, this way, this way, and it all kind of goes that way. There we go. Up the stairs, the room that we need is upstairs. If Mary is there, we do not want that. It'll be unfortunate, but it does happen. There we go. And this is going to be about 2 more walks up and down these stairs. 1 up, and then 1 down to go back to that room. And then we'll have everything we need and we'll be able to get to the ending sequence once again, where we'll be taking out Dan, Bobby, and all of them once again. And it should be good stuff. Here we go. Just got to keep running. And we're almost to the room. 50-50 chance Mary's there. I hope she's not. I also haven't heard the phone at all yet. What happened to the phone, guys? Oh, it hasn't been ringing. Hey, Mary's not here. Maybe we just gotta go straight for the key and go down. And as I mentioned, the phone just says line dead. I only know this because I played the English version of this game. I'm a big fan of this game. I love playing it. I played it a lot casually. I played it a lot. This is actually my first major speedrun I've ever done. Ever since I got into speedrunning, I've broadened my games a lot more. But Clock Tower is always the game I'm really proud to show off. It's the game that got me into this. It's the game that I honestly think needs, I guess, just more hype in general. It is probably one of the best point-and-click speedruns ever because you're able to skip major sections of the game just by passing them. You can just run past them by using all the tech skips and all the different skips in the game. Dog skip, I mean, the dog is an obstacle that you need to search various parts of the mansion to find the tools needed to pass them. And you need to do a lot of preparation in general, but for S ending, what would be like a 30-minute run if you did glitchless is actually about a 12-minute run, if it's ideal. Which, that kind of spread is pretty crazy. Boom. Alright. And one more time, we gotta do this. And then we gotta do this. And then you gotta do this. And then once more here. Just making sure I talk to these. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go talk to Lot because we need that embraceful moment where we We need to give Lot her loving embrace. I mean, Lot wasn't very well loved in this, except for the one time she came back from the dead, only to die again moments later. And it's like watching a woolly mammoth get unfrozen and then, you know, go right back into the ice. But I guess that's just the way Lot rolls. It's her style, not my personal style, but it's what she likes to do. And now that we have everything we need, we're going to go into the ceremony room, we're going to place the staff, and we're going to do the dog skip. The dog skip is the last major trick we're going to do, but since I left Lot alive, I'm going to be able to also do the dialogue skip. Which, again, funny enough, they were able to discover the dialogue skip immediately, but nobody ever thought to do more text skips than just that. Hey, there you go. And let's do this. Right into the vase. And oddly enough, again, Clock Tower speedrunning is a bit weird in terms of its history. When I came into this game, we didn't really have... We had a lot of the tricks, but text skipping wasn't a thing. And every time we... Oh, really? Every time we got to the dad room, you had to talk to the dad. And the fact that you had to talk to the dad, that was a minute 30. In the past, I was like, oh, I'll use this as, you know, just kind of a place to chill out, grab some water, chill out. But we found out you only had to talk to the bag. And we found this out by looking at a TAS from Japan. But we only looked at the TAS from Japan because I started advancing the game. Like, I found the text skip before I even found that, but apparently somebody beat everybody else to that over a year ago. So I guess it's just kind of weird that there's a bunch of different communities out there more than just your basic scale. Here we go. We're going to talk to Lot for the last time, and we're going to give her the due notice to where, I guess, the loving embrace, where I just kind of stand next to her for a brief moment and then run away. It's how I would have wanted to go. If any of you ever see me in real life, just talk to my body for a brief moment, then proceed to run away. I get it. That's how I want it to be done. And time for Dan the Man once more time. Remember, Dan is covered in orphan meat, and we are going to burn that down. Funny enough, Dan, is he really dead? Hard to say. Dan's a bit weird here, because Clock Tower 2 does show that there were a couple survivors from this mansion, funny enough. It's a bit odd. There you go. And this is the final time we're going to see Dan. And there's one more thing I can mention here. By doing this, you make this ever so slightly faster, to where you can just keep going back and forth. Input buffering works in all sections of the game. It's not worth it to do it in all sections of the game, primarily because it doesn't let you move your cursor. By doing input buffering, you don't get to move this around, and it can get kind of rough if you need to move it in certain areas. There we go. Almost done. And I guess just generally, I do believe this game does deserve more attention. That's just kind of my basic opinion, but there have been some new runners coming in. I want to do a lot more for this game. I've been meaning on doing a tutorial guide for this. So if anyone, I guess, does have questions for this in general, definitely let me know. We are coming near the end of the run. We are very close to being done. I predicted about a 145. It's most likely going to be about a 144. It's about a minute at the ending, and we'll see. There we go. And ultimately, if you didn't know much about this game, there is a lot that comes to this that you wouldn't expect. When I first started this, the tricks are pretty easy to pick up, and there is a guide at the moment, but I feel like there are just certain things that need to be elaborated. Most importantly, probably the text skip, and that's definitely one of the more important ones. And there's just a bunch of minor optimizations as well. Input buffering is also something else that was discovered that was pretty not in the TAS, but this pretty much has been Clock Tower for the most part. We have one more thing that I can mess... I guess two more things I can mess up on, and one of them is right in this elevator. I gotta make sure I push floor 3, guys, or else I don't get it. It has to be floor 3. Here we go. And we are now... One more thing. The run is going to end... Once the screen starts flashing, it will start flashing at some point. When it stops flashing, we'll call time, and that's when time will be. If I have time, I can show off a glitched ending. It is pretty difficult, though, so I might not be able to get it immediately. But each attempt's about, like, maybe 1 minute at the max. This is all automated as well. They just kind of want you to... They don't want you to be able to mess up on this final cutscene. So you just make your way through. I'll let you guys enjoy this right now, and then we will be calling the ending once the screen, or once Jennifer's portrait stops flashing. Here we go. 1. And you can tell we did it right because now we have Laura on the floor here as opposed to running in. And this is the absolute best thing that is needed. We did everything perfectly, and ideally it should work. Jennifer also likes to wait here because I guess it makes sense. If you're being chased by a crazy dude with scissors, you'd like to catch a breath. But time is about to happen, looking at a 1:43:15? Maybe lower. 16. 17. Alright, we got it. And that's Clock Tower all endings right there. Was not expecting a 143. I was honestly expecting probably about 147. But won't complain. It was a good run. It was honestly a very good run. But one of the big issues about this run is the variable in time can get really rough. In theory, you could get a 115, but you have to be prepared for about 2 hours. And Mary drops, once again, and we'll let the ending play out as well. Let me just check really quick with the Retrothon guys to see if I have enough time to show one more ending. Oh, perfect. Alright, I'm allowed to show off glitched ending. Alright, I will do that once we let the ending play out, because you guys deserve to see one of the endings all the way through. We're going to let Jennifer celebrate right now. Here we go. And we are out. We're able to embrace being alive at the top of a clock tower, pouring rain. We get our friend Laura. We're able to escape with her, and all is well. We lost Anne. We lost Lot, but Lot was never really a friend who counted anyway. And Anne was always destined to die, one way or another, covered in glass. But the sun will come out, and we're able to enjoy ourselves. I'll let the credits just start to roll, and then I'll show you guys the glitch D. Alright, there we go. So, I'm gonna throw down the timer for a bit, because now I have the timer done. I'll try timing it, just to see if we can get one run of this done. There we go. Okay, so Glitch D is an interesting category. First off, let me explain Glitch D. So as I didn't get A ending, because A ending's flag is way later than it needs to be. I can get it at any point, but we know it's A ending right when she falls off, so there's no worry about that. D ending is weird, because when you start the game at its base, all the endings will show up kind of like A. A ending is the ... that means you haven't gotten it yet. However, there exists an ending in the game where Bobby will never spawn, no friends will ever die, and you can just end the game outright. Now, if you do that, you can end up getting D ending. For some reason, it flags it as D, and I'm not sure why. Anyway, I'm going to just do a quick run of this, and let's see if we can get it. And this ending has 0 RNG. If you want a category that's the absolute most tough category of this game and has no RNG, this is it. It's just all optimal movement. Everything about this is about 2 minutes of optimal movement. And the reason why this works is that odd glitch I talked about earlier that can skip the trip. It's very difficult to do, so I'm hoping I can get it at least one of the attempts. I'll do like about 3 attempts to see if we can get it, because I don't want to take too much time up. I think we're pretty good on time, and I don't want to take away from the next runner, so I think we can do about 3 of these. Because each attempt takes about 1 minute at most. So by running past these trees, there's going to be a marker right here. I got it! First try! First try! Oh my god, we got it. That's amazing. So what I just did is I skipped the entire section of Bobby spawning. As you know, there are various sections of the game where Bobby spawns. So what I just did right there is I skipped Bobby coming in entirely. So Bobby's not going to spawn at any point now, and I can keep input buffering. I could have input buffered there more, but I kind of just want to show this ending off. I'm not going for competitive time, because competitive time for this mode, or for this ending, is absolutely ridiculous. As you can see as well, Anne is not dead, Anne is perfectly alive, Anne has not died yet. Neither is Laura. But there's a certain ending we can get if we're in this area of the game. It is an incredibly difficult trick to do, and since this isn't really timed, I can show it off right now. The general action is you run, you turn, and then while you're turning, you immediately do another turn. And the reason that works is because when you turn kind of like this, it gives you a little bit of forward momentum, and you're able to carry that through all the way. So it lets us just do the entire area. We can just skip Bobby. So in theory, you could also skip the trip, but it's not worth it because if you miss it, you wasted more time. And it just wastes more time than tripping anyway. So here's 2. World record for this is like a 151, by the way. And the reason why world record for this isn't, I'm not really going for that right now, is because it's ridiculous. There you go. And we got 206, which isn't bad at all. Sweet. And that's Glitch D. And we're not even going to get the car. It's going to be absolutely blank, and the credits will roll. There you go. And this is the one ending where Anne gets to live. You just go straight to the credits and nothing bad happens. It doesn't give anything. It's kind of weird, in fact. It was discovered by Ruidath, in fact. It was rumored that could happen in the forums, but Ruidath was the man who was able to find that enough. So I want to give him a lot of shout-outs. He did a lot of optimizations with the TAS. And just kind of showing you what we skipped, by the way, because I want to make sure you guys are clear what we ended up skipping. And also, I want to watch Anne die again. This is why the ending is the way it is. So let's go back here really quick. I'll take about a minute, and that gives me a lot more of my attempts. And I'll also explain to you why this category got so ridiculous the way it is. Because me and the world record holder, who is currently there, Joe, kept firing back at each other. I found an incredibly optimized way to do this, and then he destroyed me with my own technique. So the optimized strategy is, instead of just running and doing it, yes, Smelly Beetle, that was a glitched ending. So instead of just running and doing it, you input buffer and you do it blind. The only problem though is it's a tough enough trick to do being able to see. Now, around this third tree, if you run right about here, Bobby will spawn, like so. You hear the scream, and then we're going to watch Anne drown. This is one ending she's not covered in glass, but it is Anne once again. I know you're thinking water-based death, it should be Laura, but Anne just likes dying here. I don't know what they had against Anne, but you have to feel kind of bad. Funny enough, I actually have no clue how they expected you to escape Bobby here, because we're able to do it because we can glitch past him, but, I mean, watch. Bobby's going to spawn right about here. He's going to spawn right over here, and we can get past him, but if you run into him, you're going to die, and you can't, watch, I'm going to go over here, let me get the item out, let me do this. I run here, and you can't move the box as you're in chase mode. So the only way to actually pass them is by doing the glitch past the box. So I don't know how they ever expected you to pass that. Like, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, though, that was Clock Tower. That's pretty much everything I wanted to go over, and I want to thank Retrothon so much again for letting me have this opportunity to show Clock Tower all endings. I think it's an amazing category for an underrated game, and definitely Clock Tower speedrunning is a very open area. It's very easy to pick up, and for new runners, the game is great. The only thing I kind of warn people about is this game does have a lot of RNG. Anyway, I know some people weren't fans of my long ranting, and some of you loved it. If you were a fan of it, I'm exclusively a horror speedrunner, so outside of retro horror games, I got about 26 different runs, and I learn new ones every week. I love the genre, of horror, and I think Clock Tower is a great game. Anyway, I think it's about my time, so I hope you guys enjoy Home Alone next, and thank you so much again for the opportunity to do this. Have a great night, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the marathon.